Tough one on Sunday, but I like the way our guys got right back to work yesterday, getting ready for Arizona State, and I'm really we're really focused on some things in practice to correct our sort of communication, leadership, handling adversity situations, and you know, the guys look good yesterday in practice, so I don't think there's any ill effects yet. So we're looking forward to another opportunity this weekend on 2 undefeated teams. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
What was the conversation in practice addressing leadership?
Well, you know, with Angus not being on the court, we don't have we haven't had anyone step up and replace him from a leadership standpoint. So that's when I talk about leadership, that's what I'm talking about. I think I've been talking about this all season long. We've been trying to find somebody to replace that voice on the court. You know, I can do it as much as I can from the sideline and during practice, but we really need somebody on the court.
Did anybody embrace that conversation?
I think everybody embraced it. I think everybody embraced it. And I think with our team, you know, we have such wonderful kids who enjoy being around each other that, thanks, Sean, I think that no one wants to step on anybody's toes. So I think they feel that and they see that now that we brought that to their attention and are going to correct that.
To that point, Roberto was talking about he's willing to be that guy. Can he be that guy from what you've seen?
I think any of our experienced guys have the aptitude and the intellect to do it, and they just have to now earn the credibility from the other guys by doing it.
Is that what came of it? Everybody's going to be a little more vocal?
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot more vocal, not just a little bit more vocal. I think the solution is to go overboard and then pull back and see where we end up.
When you look at the tape from Sunday night's game, did anything jump off that's the point of emphasis for your players?
You know what? Actually, when you watch the tape, it wasn't as horrible as it felt like going through it. You know, I think we played 30 minutes of pretty darn good basketball out of 40 against a team that I consider an NCAA tournament team. At least I'm you know, when I look at the teams that I've been watching on television, that feels like an NCAA tournament team, and we are right there. We are 10 minutes away from being right with that team, and getting that point across from a psychological and emotional standpoint is what my biggest job is now. I think from a basketball standpoint, we've shown we can put together pieces of games. Now we have to put together whole games.
What do you think when you look at Arizona State? Is it striking how different they are?
You know, it's not striking. It's, you know, when I've always felt that you either recruit to the way you play or you play the way you recruit to the way you recruit. And I think when you get a player like Jahi Carson, who's got the ball in his hand a lot, you got to play that way. So it's not wholesale surprising look by them, but they're guys who have come back. Carrick Felix has come back a much better player. I think Bashinsky has come back as a much better player. And it shows in their record. I mean, it's a really good-looking team.
When you watch Carson and see what he's been doing, what are the emotions that come with that, knowing that he was supposed to be in the Beavers?
Coach my players, not anybody else's. So, you know, it's part of the game when you have somebody who you thought you had and they end up going somewhere else. But there's no emotion in it. I coach the guys who are in this locker room, and we win or lose together.
That being said, with the matchup, you know, the way they play the tempo, how do you feel that your group is prepared to confront that?
You know, I feel good about our teams. I mean, I will. I mean, I feel like we have a very good team, so I think we match up well with anybody in the conference. The goal, Stephen, is to play an entire 40-minute game, and so that's point number one. Point number two is to mentally and emotionally and psychologically understand that you're a good team and be that team in your mind, which will help you be more consistently that team on the floor.
Carson said he committed too early. Can you kind of give us a little background on what went on back then?
Well, he committed early. I don't know. I guess it was too early. But we've had, I mean, Ahmad committed. Ahmad, I'm just turning this off before it rings. Ahmad committed early. I mean, it's just different for different guys. So, listen, he's a terrific kid. I don't begrudge him. You know, when we recruit guys, we always say if somebody says yes and they don't really mean yes, we would rather them go somewhere else than be here and than be unhappy. So it's better off that he's there and happy than would have been here and unhappy.
Does it help to know, since you recruited him so hard and you knew his game, the nuances of his game, or with film?
With film and scouting these days, it wouldn't matter. I mean, you know, what he did in high school is what he did in high school. Now we get to see his body of work in college, and we are prepared to attack that.
How about the big guy, Machinsky? You said he's elevated his game. What do you see from him, and is that somebody you have to game plan for?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, anybody who can block shots the way he does, and he's very efficient on the offensive end now, too. He's averaging about 10, 11 points a game, and he's not taking a lot of shots. So that means if he does take a lot of shots, he could be even more effective. And he can, not only does he have great timing to block shots, but he's changing shots that I'm seeing on tape, and that affects your overall game plan.
Do you think he's the next level kind of player?
You know, I'll wait and see after the game. I would imagine that anybody who's got that kind of size can find a job at the next level. I mean, you know, if you made me tell you right now, I would say absolutely. But I want to see his foot speed, and I want to see all the things that I'm seeing on tape. I want to see in person.
I think he's pretty mature. I think he's like 23 years old.
Yeah, I know. We recruited him, and he was on a mission before he started college. So yeah, I think he is. He would make a pretty nice pro at that level, and the athleticism and the body size. Not that I'm an expert, but
Does he affect your game plan going in?
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll kind of look at attacking him like we attacked Woods. I mean, Woods is very similar, very good shot blocker, very good offensive rebounder. We got to keep him off the boards, and we can't let him kill us scoring from a scoring standpoint.
Seems like rebounding would be an area that you guys statistically seem to have an advantage against each other.
Yeah, I think so, but it doesn't do you any good if you don't take advantage of it, and that's what we're trying to convince our team of, that we are a very good rebounding team, and let's take advantage of that, both offensively and defensively.
Coach, when you talk about the everybody being more vocal, it looks like that means on defense, talking, you know, just guys being as verbal as possible to help each other out. Absolutely,
Mike. We have historically been a sort of one guy leads the team since I've been here. And with this amount of talent, this amount of experience, we should have more than one or two guys talking on defense no matter what our lineup is out there. And we're just trying to emphasize that, remind guys that helps your defense. So when I am speaking about the being more vocal, it is on defense, but it is also in the locker room, on the court, in the huddles when the guys are huddling during foul shots when we're not around them.
So that in the national championship football game last night, there was an exchange where the quarterback got into the center space and the center pushed him out and all of that. I mean, are there times in your game, in your group, that if somebody goes up and it challenges somebody like that, you're okay with it?
Well, I don't want them to get physical with each other. I thought that was a little bit much, but football is a different game than basketball. I don't mind them being fired up at each other and sort of sticking up for their opinions. But what we need is for somebody to be sort of a calming vocal factor when we run into adversity in the midst of a game, in the midst of a run by the other team, who can kind of bring us together and be a coach on the floor. And that's more of what we're looking for. I don't want any kind of gratuitous sort of, pushing each other around just for the sake of making it look like they're communicating. I want effective solutions to the problems that we're dealing with.
Are you satisfied with the development of your young guys, the freshmen and Charlie? Are they contributing the way you want?
Yeah, they are. They are. It may not look like it from a minute standpoint, but I'm confident in putting all those guys in the game when I need to put them in the game, and for different reasons. So, but I think all 4 of the freshmen I have no problem putting in the game, and Charlie Barton has got my utmost confidence. It's just that he's playing behind Ahmad Starks, who happens to be just playing really well at a very high level, and right now I want to keep him on the court as long as possible.
That being said, the confidence in that young group, some of those guys, you talked about their athleticism. Given the way Arizona State plays, do you feel like you see utilize the young guys' athleticism a little bit more, or are you going to try and keep the rotation?
I reserve the right to do whatever I want during the game, but given the fact that we're going right into the 2 games a week with 1 day off in between, I would imagine they're going to play a lot more. Just from a depth standpoint, we're going to need to be fresh for 2 games at the end of the weekend. It's not like we're playing a Tuesday, Saturday, or Wednesday, Sunday type of a schedule this weekend. We're playing Thursday, and then they got to turn around and play again on Saturday.
Joe had a pretty productive first half offensively, showing off the hook shot a little bit. Second half, didn't seem as like he was in sync as much, turning the ball over a few times. How do you feel like he's handling the role of the more minutes, the expanded load, and from that game, last game specifically? Yeah,
the last game was such an anomaly for him. He had been playing so well in both halves for us, and I thought we were managing his minutes pretty well. And I don't have the stats from the last game, but I don't think he played many more minutes than he usually does. What I thought happened is he had a couple of frustrating plays that he let get to him, and then it was almost a snowball effect. So he was trying to make up for a couple of mistakes that he has to understand. He doesn't have to make up for his mistakes. He's out there to play and do what he does. If he makes a couple of mistakes, he's going to be okay. He doesn't have to double down on them.
Coach, your bigs are good passers and get a lot of assists. Is it a concern at all in a game coming out that if Roberto and Ahmad combine for 1, that needs to be different, or does every game take a different shape in terms of ball distribution? No,
it's a tad bit concerning that they didn't get any assists, because they usually get some. We usually spread them out more, but it was more of a concern that we only had 8. I mean, we typically are in double figures and significant double figures with assists. I mean, at least half our baskets. So that was more of a concern than each individual person. I just thought that when we hit the rough patch in the road, every single one of our players felt like they needed to take it upon themselves to get it back. Or the person who gave up a basket wanted to turn around and make a basket. That's when you have plays where you don't have assists, because a guy has it predetermined in his mind that he's going to get those 2 points or 3 points back.
When you have Devon sitting to start the game, do you have him look for anything in particular?
Oh, yeah. He's supposed to be watching, where he can come in and get some stuff done immediately. And he does do that. That's why I think he's so effective when he comes in. It's almost, it's not like we try and go right to him when he goes in. We just let him find his opportunities when he can, but he always finds those. And we're just lucky that he's got the ability, because not everyone who has been a starter can come off the bench. He's shown that he's been able to go from being a starter to being a significant 6th man.
So he's looking for his offensive spots more than what he might do on defense?
No, I think he's looking for both. He's just so prolific from a scoring standpoint, and that was the point I talked about. I mean, it just, I think you can always be ready to play defense, because it's just a matter of consistent effort. and a couple of techniques. Scoring is hard to do when you first come in a game and you've been sitting for a while and everybody else is warmed up. So that's a real art form, especially for a guy who's not shooting, not coming in to just take wide open shots.
You feel like that he's not pressing, then when he comes in, he's not necessarily?
No, I haven't seen it, John. I haven't seen it, and I don't feel it at all. I think that when he comes in, he knows he's coming in to light a spark for us. But I don't think he feels like he's got to come in and pull up from three to get that going. I think he does it in the sort of happenstance of the game.
So it works.
It seems to be working. I mean, I saw somewhere, or somebody tweeted me that he was one of the top 3 or 4 6 men in the country from a production standpoint, which includes points and rebounds. So that's pretty good.
One last thing.
Yeah, sure.
Jockey, how do you try and slow him down and kind of get him out of sync? Because it seems like the offense is going through him.
Yeah, well, you have to guard him. I mean, you guard him well. And, I thought that the teams that have had some success at stopping him have forced him to shoot the ball outside. I don't think that's a big secret. You look at those stats, that might be a good strategy. But really, he can hurt you in so many ways, because if he's not scoring, if he's not getting to the foul line, he's getting his other guys going. So, you can't just focus on him, but, he has the ball in his hand predominantly, and as much as you can get it out of his hands, it's sort of a one less weapon you have to deal with.
We won't have a chance to ask you about Arizona, and I know it's Arizona State first,
Sure.
but I mean, just kind of, they're unbeaten. The
Yeah.
games are close and tight. They don't have guys on the stats page in the Pac-12 leading categories. But what do you see going on there?
I've only seen a couple of games, Mike, and their ranking is true, I think, from what I've seen on TV. I saw the Florida game, which was against a very highly ranked team. And then I saw another game, and I'm drawing a blank on who they were playing. Oh, no, it was another comeback game, so it must have been the Colorado game, where they are just a poised group and a deep group. I mean, those freshmen aren't blinking, and the guys who are coming off the bench are just as good as the guys who are starting. They probably have 9 guys who could potentially start in this conference. So, But again, that's an opportunity for us. I mean, since I've been here, so whatever happens Thursday, they'll still be the highest ranked team that I've coached against here at Gill, or here at Oregon State, and having an opportunity to play them at Gill is it's one of those. It's like trading bonds. You got to take advantage of the arbitrage while it's there, and we have to we have to look at that as an opportunity and seek out the chances to exploit any advantages we have and try and win that game, because that's one that can turn your season around.
One of the advantages you guys have would be the three-point shooting. They kind of struggled guarding that the past couple games, Arizona. But I know you talked about how the offense you like inside out.
Right.
So we feel like you have to remind you guys to not fall in love with the three, even though.
I hadn't really thought about it because I haven't taken a look at it. But if you're telling me that they don't guard the three well, and we are shooting the three well, they're going to be heightened. They're going to have their spider senses tingling on us shooting the 3 points. So you're probably right. I'm going to have our guys probably not fall in love with shooting the three, but fall in love with it if they're going in. That it?
Thanks.
Anybody else? All right, thank you.